This is once again Hariba Prasad Damarla. We will continue our discussion on telephone networks and the part of transmission planning. In our earlier session or part 1, we have discussed about the CCITT recommendations for transmission planning. So one of the important recommendations, the CCIT has stipulated that not more than 12 circuits in tandem should be provided for an international call. The maximum limit for the number of circuits in tandem is 12 in case of an international circuit. So the portion of the number of circuits for national and international also we have discussed. 4 in nation A, 4 in nation B, 4 for international parts. But in rare cases, that is in worst condition scenario, the total number of circuits can be up to 14. In that case also, the international circuits in tandem is limited to 4 only. So that means for national circuits, the number of links can be 5 for each country. And subsequently, we have discussed about the other aspects in transmission planning pertaining to echo and singing. We try to understand what is echo and what is singing. So further we will continue our discussion on echo and singing in this session, and afterwards we will also discuss about the concept of written laws with reference to transmission planning. So now we will start discussing about the echo suppressors. So we know echo should be as minimum as possible. So for that we deploy echo suppressors in our network. So here we will try to understand the concept of echo suppressors. The operation of the echo suppressor is explained in the figure. Here, when B is speaking, the echo suppressor EB is short-circuited because it should not be attenuated. B's speech towards A should not be attenuated, so it is short-circuited. That means this 45 dB attenuator is bypassed for the speech of B towards A. So similarly, the attenuator EA comes into picture for the echo of B at A and towards B. The echo coming to B is to be attenuated. So this 45 dB attenuator EA comes into picture for the echo of B that is heard in B receiver. Echo suppressors are voice activated attenuators. Echo suppressors are nothing but attenuators, but they are voice activated. Once you speak only, so for example, when B is speaking, the echo suppressor or the attenuator EA is activated. That comes into picture. Normally, the echo suppressors are in deactivated state, that is they are bypassed. So this is the normal state. So this is bypassed, short circuited with this to this wire connected. So this 45 dB attenuation as per this example or diagram is bypassed. Speech in one path activates the echo suppressor on the other direction. So B speech will activate the echo suppressor in other direction. So here it is activated. This short circuit is removed. So 45 dB attenuation is introduced for the echo towards B. Further, we will continue to discuss. The speech of subscriber A activates echo suppressor EB, and the speech of the subscriber B activates echo suppressors A. Figure depicts the situation when B is talking and A is silent. So, subscribers A's speech will activate echo suppressor EB, and the speech of B activates echo suppressor EA. So this figure indicates when B is talking, that is echo suppressor EB is bypassed and A is listening at that time. So EA is activated in other direction. So this depicts the situation when B is talking and A is silent. Should A attempt to talk at this juncture, his talk is also attenuated. So in this scenario, when A talks, his speech also is attenuated by this attenuator. So in this example, we have shown 45 dB attenuation. So which is not desirable. So his speech should not be attenuated. Otherwise, B cannot hear properly the speech of A. So how to obviate this situation? He can, however, turn off the echo suppressor by interrupting B loudly. So he has to speak loudly so that the echo suppressor which is introduced at EA will be bypassed. The echo suppressor is deactivated automatically a few milliseconds after the talker stops speaking. The basic principle is, so once nobody speaks for a few milliseconds, so it is deactivated. So they like this. So this is a basic concept of echo suppressor. So now we are purposefully introducing echo suppressors to minimize the effect of echo for the voice communication. Suppose if you are using the same circuit for data transmission, so what is the situation and how we have to take care of data transmission on the same circuit with echo suppressors. Let us go through the contents of this slide. The operation of a system with echo suppressors leads to off duplex, not full duplex. That means A speaks, B listens, B speaks, A listens. There will be a minute time gap between A and B speaking. So that's why we technically call it as a off duplex. The voice communication can be considered as off duplex, one after the other. So the gap between A and B speaking maybe in the order of milliseconds. When telephone circuits are used for data transmission, full duplex operation is required. So in case of data transmission, when you use the same telephone circuits for data communication, we require full duplex. It cannot be half duplex. Moreover, with several milliseconds of interruption, when the echo suppressor in one direction is turned off and the one in the other direction is turned on, it is very difficult to harness data transmission. So, with the introduction of echo suppressor, so it is difficult to organize data transmission. So, how to mitigate this adverse effect of echo suppressors in case of data transmission, we will try to understand. Hence, echo suppressors are usually disabled while the circuits are used for data transmission. Then how it is done? This is done by providing a disable feature in the echo suppressor and triggering the same with a special signal. So we will utilize the feature of disable function in echo suppressor and we will trigger the operation of the disabler with a special signal. What is that special signal we use for disable feature? We will try to understand in the next slide. So, how to trigger the disabling function of echo suppressor? Usually, a 2025 Hz or 2100 Hz tone is transmitted at least for a duration of 300 milliseconds with a signal level not less than minus 5 dBm and used to trigger the disabler. So we take the help of transmitting either 2025 Hz or 2100 Hz tone for a duration of not less than 300 milliseconds at a level of not less than minus 5 dBm to trigger the disabler, echo suppressor disabler, which disables the function of the echo suppressor for data communication. Once disabled, the echo suppressor remains disabled as long as the signals in the frequency range of 300 Hz to 3400 Hz are being transmitted in either direction. So when direct data communication is taking place in this frequency zone, so it remains disabled. So the echo suppressor will not be introduced, it is bypassed. A no signal interval of 100 milliseconds or more switches the echo suppressor back into the circuit. Suppose if there is no signal transmission, data transmission, for 100 milliseconds or more than that, the echo suppressor is back in the circuit. So this is the basic theoretical concept of triggering the disabler as far as the data transmission on telephone network is concerned. The developments in electronics have paved the way for echo control by echo cancellation method. Nowadays, we are using the echo cancellation, echo control by echo cancellation. We are not using the older type of attenuators for echo suppression. We are using a concept known as echo control with the help of echo cancellation by deploying the electronics in our circuits. Echo cancellers do not physically insert attenuators or bypass them. Instead, they process the incoming signal to eliminate the reflected component from it. So, with the help of electronics, so we don't physically insert attenuator or bypass them. Instead, we process the incoming signal and eliminate the reflected component, echo component from it. So we process the signal to eliminate the reflected component of the signal. So further we will continue our discussion. So we will look into echo and singing together. Transmitted speech is stored for a period of time which is equal to the round trip delay of the circuit. The stored signal is attenuated by a quantity equal to the loop loss and then subtracted from the incoming signal. How we will process with the help of electronics is given here. So what they will do, 3 steps are involved. First step, the time period of the storage of the transmitted speech. The transmitted speech is stored for some time. So for how much time it will be stored, that is equal to the round trip delay. If the round trip delay is 50 milliseconds, the signal is stored for a period of 50 milliseconds. Then the second step, what they will do, signal attenuation. So how much the transmitted signal is attenuated. So it is equal to loop loss. What is the loop loss? That is A to B transmission and B to A reception. So this is the total loop loss. So we estimate we attenuate the signal to an extent of loop loss. Then in the third step, what we do, in the final level of the final level of the signal is equal to incoming signal level minus loop loss. So that will be the final level of the signal. Incoming signal from incoming signal level. So we will deduct the loop loss. So this final level of the signal will be transmitted on the line. Then further we will continue our discussion on this concept. An integrated circuit echo canceller incorporating these functions, that means these 3 functions, is now available for use on satellite circuits. So we are using integrated circuit based echo canceller for satellite circuits. In the earlier part, we have also discussed and understood that the importance of and the necessity of echo canceller in case of satellite circuits because of the round trip delay or the delay involved, because in satellite circuits, even though the calling party and called party are adjacent to each other, they have to travel about 72,000 kilometers and the round trip delay is in the order of 250 milliseconds. As the round trip delay increases, the adverse effect of the echo is more. Further, we will continue. It may be noted that echo cancellers eliminate speech clipping, that is trimming, and permit full duplex operation. So the integrated circuit based echo cancellers, they permit full duplex operation. In the above discussion, we have considered only one reflection of the signal at the listener's end being echoed at the talker's end. So we have considered all this discussion, we have considered only one end, that is the effect of the echo at the talker's end. The signal at the listener's end being echoed at the talker's end. This is referred to as the talker's echo. So we say it is the talker's echo. If repeated multiple reflections occur, oscillations are produced and a condition known as singing is said to exist. So if repeated multiple reflections takes place, so we consider it as oscillations are produced and the condition is known as singing condition. Singing is said to exist. Further, we will continue our discussion. So, the effects of singing on transmission planning. Under the condition of singing or the oscillations, the circuit is said to be experiencing instability. So when singing is taking place, the circuit is considered to be experiencing instability, not stable. The circuit is not stable because of the singing effect. Singing occurs if the loop gain at a specific frequency is greater than unity. So singing occurs if the loop gain at a particular frequency is greater than unity. If loop gain is close to but less than unity, damped oscillations or near singing conditions result. So if the loop gain is in and around unity or less than unity, so damped oscillations takes place. Singing or near singing conditions have a disturbing effect on both the talker and the listener. So it will affect both the talker as well as the listener, singing or near singing, both the conditions. In general, the procedures adopted to control echo also control singing. So whatever the procedures generally we adopt to control the echo will also take care of singing effect. That's why we consider both echo and singing together. But in some short connections where no control is required or necessary for echo, singing may become a problem. For short distance networks, so we don't feel the effect or adverse effect of echo. But singing may become in short distance networks. So then what is to be done? Singing can occur in ideal circuits where echo cannot occur. So singing happens even if the circuit is ideal. To control singing under such circumstances, the 4-wire circuits must have a certain minimum loss. So to control the singing, so the 4-wire circuits in the network should have minimum loss. even if the distance is less and the loss is less, so we should ensure or we have to introduce some minimum loss. What is that? What is the recommendation by the CCITT in such cases? CCITT recommends a minimum loss of 10 dB on national networks to avoid singing. So, to avoid singing, the CCIT recommends a minimum loss of 10 dB on national networks to avoid singing. So, having discussed about echo and singing and together different aspects, now we will try to understand another concept known as return loss. What is return loss? What are all the different equations? And we will also look into some example. Return loss is the amount by which the reflected signal is attenuated and is given by the equation like this. So return loss refers to the loss or the attenuation caused to the reflected signal. The signal reflection takes place due to irregularities or impedance mismatches. While they come back to the originating end, they are attenuated. So, what is the attenuation? What for the returning signal is known as return loss. So, we expect more loss for the reflected signal so that its effect on the talker will be minimum. So the formula for the return loss in terms of the impedances is given here in the equation 1. RL is equal to 20 log Z4 plus Z2 divided by Z4 minus Z2 dB. So RL stands for return loss, Z4 is the impedance of the 4-wire circuit, and Z2 is the impedance of the 2-wire circuit. Because we know the copper pair is a 2-wire circuit, whereas the trunk circuit is a 4-wire circuit. So at the exchange only, this impedance mismatch takes place. The impedance of 2-wire circuit is different from the impedance of the 4-wire circuits. So this is how we can estimate the return loss, the loss caused to the reflected signal with the help of the impedances. If you know the impedances of 4-wire, 2-wire circuits, you can calculate the return loss. So you can also calculate the return loss by using the powers. So in terms of power, so the return loss is equal to 10 log P4 by P4 minus P2 dB. So here P4 indicates incoming power on the 4-wire circuit. What is the power that is coming to the 4-wire circuit? And P2 indicates power reaching the 2-wire circuit. So this is the 4-wire circuit power, this is the 2-wire circuit power. P4 minus P2 indicates power reflected on the return path. So this indicates P4 minus P2 indicates the power reflected on the return path. So this is another way of expressing the return loss or estimating the return loss. Further we will look into this concept. And there is another method of expressing the return loss in terms of voltages. So RL, return loss, is equal to 20 log V4 divided by V4 minus V2 dB. So which is equal to 20 log 1 by RC dB. Then we will try to understand what is RC, where RC is the reflection coefficient as and defined as, so RC stands for reflection coefficient. So how it is defined RC? RC is equal to reflected signal by incident signal. What is the signal reflected? What is the signal? Incident signal. So that is the reflection coefficient. In terms of reflection coefficient, the return loss is equal to 20 log 1 by RC. In terms of voltages, it is V4 by V4 minus V2, just like in terms of power. Here voltages, 4-wire voltage, 2-wire voltage. So these are the 4-wire circuit voltages and 2-wire circuit voltages. If the networks are perfectly balanced, so that means the impedance of the 4-wire circuit and 2-wire circuits are equal. That means Z4 is equal to Z2. Then the equation 1 will be like this. Let us see the equation once we will go back. So Z4 plus Z2 by Z4 minus Z2. So Z4 equal to Z2. So we can say Z2 plus Z2, 2Z2. Okay, Z4 equal to Z2. So Z4 minus Z2 is equal to 0. So with this understanding, we will come back to our earlier slide. RL, here they say balance. That means Z4 equal to Z2 is equal to 20 log 2Z2 by 0, because Z4 minus Z2 is equal to 0. Z4 equal to Z2. That's why the numerator is twice Z2. So which is equal to infinity. So which indicates that return loss is infinite and the return signal experiences an infinite attenuation, and hence there is no reflected signal. So in this case, since Z4 equal to Z2, so it offers, because impedance is perfectly matched, so there is no return loss is infinite. That means there is no reflected signal. This is theoretically desirable situation. Of course, practically, so it cannot be, it may not be possible, because the 2-wire impedance cannot be equal to the 4-wire impedance. So naturally there will be some reflection. So our objective is the reflected solution signal should be as minimum as possible, so that we don't have the adverse effects for the talker. So further we will try to understand the return loss with an example. This example I have copied from one of the standard textbooks for explanation purpose. In a national transmission system, the characteristic impedance of 4-wire circuit and 2-wire circuits are 1000 ohms and 1200 ohms respectively. So the impedance, characteristic impedance of 4-wire circuit is 1000 ohms and 2-wire circuit is 1200 ohms. The average phase velocity of the signal in the circuit is 3 into 10 to the power of 7 meters per second. So the velocity of the signal, the speed of the signal, the phase velocity of the signal is given by 3 into 10 to the power of 7 meters per second. If the distance of the circuit is 300 kilometers, determine the attenuation to be inserted in the circuits. So if the distance between calling party and called party is 300 kilometers, how much attenuation we have to introduce to resolve issues of echo and singing. Okay. First, of course, this is the graph indicating round trip delay versus the loss that is to be introduced. Okay. Next slide, we will utilize this graph in a better way. First, let us calculate the return loss. So RL is equal to 20 log Z4 plus Z2 divided by Z4 minus Z2 dB as per our equation 1. So which is equal to 20 log 1000 plus 1200, 2200. Then Z4 minus Z2. I think here I have wrongly typed. It is 4-wire circuit is 1200 and 2-wire circuit is 1000 ohms. Then we will get 2200 by Z4 minus Z2, that is 1200 minus 1000. Here small typo error is there, excuse me. So that is equal to 20.8 dB. So round trip delay for echo is equal to 30 kilometers. So because it has to travel 30 kilometers at a velocity of, at a speed of 3 into 10 to power of 7 meters per second. That is distance by speed. So that is 30,000 meters by 3 into 10 to the power of 7 meters per second, which comes to 10 milliseconds. The round trip delay for 300 kilometers at a phase velocity of 3 into 10 to the power of 7 meters per second is 10 milliseconds. Round trip delay for the echo. So we will continue our discussion on this example. As per the CCITT recommendations, echo suppressors are required if the round trip delay is more than 50 milliseconds. So CCITT recommends echo suppressor only if the round trip delay is more than 50 milliseconds. For less than 50 milliseconds, so no echo suppressor is required to take care of the echo adverse effects. In this example, what we have calculated, the round trip delay is 10 milliseconds only, and therefore no echo suppressor is required in our case, in this case what we have discussed. And as per the graph, for a round trip delay of 10 milliseconds, we require about 7 dB loss to contain the echo. So from this graph, if you can see, for 10 milliseconds round trip delay, so if you draw a line like this, so it indicates about 7 dB. So to contain echo, how much loss we require? 7 dB loss is required. As per the CCIT recommendations, the circuits would have been provided with a loss of 10 dB to control singing. So CCITT has already recommended and we have to obey it. As per that, we have to plan our network. So we have to provide minimum 10 dB loss for control singing. So our requirement is only 7 dB, but already 10 dB is already provided to take care of the singing. Therefore, no additional attenuator needs to be inserted in the circuit to control echo. Since 10 dB attenuation is already provided to control the singing, and in our case, the requirement is only 7 dB, which is the 10 dB is more than 7 dB requirement. So further, to control echo, we don't require any attenuator. The 10 dB provided, inherently provided in the transmission network For controlling the signal, the minimum loss that is required for controlling signaling control singing is 10 dB. So in this case, no additional attenuator beyond this 10 dB is required. So this is the essence of the concept of return loss. So with this discussion, we will conclude our discussion on transmission planning, which we have discussed in part 1 and part 2 together. So if you like my video, please subscribe to my channel and also give a like. With this, we will conclude our session.